Hey everyone, Edward here, and doing a follow-up review of the ROCCAT Vulcan 122 keyboard seen right over here. Hope everyone's doing okay and staying safe. Definitely a crazy world out there, and I'm sending my best to all my viewers and everybody else, including my subscribers. So, it's been actually some time since I went ahead and unboxed this keyboard, popped it open and plugged it in, and obviously you got all the amazing looking colors that this thing actually produces. I did actually mention I was going to do a follow-up video about a good month later. It's already been over 2-3 months even since I actually got my hands on this marvelous piece of hardware over here. And right now I just have it at the default rainbow color, just to give you basically what you'll see when you first plug it in. But obviously a lot of customizations you can do with regards to the colors and among many other selections as well too. So I've been using this wonderful piece of hardware over here for over 30 days, and what do I have to say? One absolutely amazing keyboard. It actually completely blew away my expectations in any regard. Some of my viewers may know that I actually was previously using a Corsair K70 keyboard, if I remember correctly, the LUX version. And my biggest rant about that keyboard was that some of my keycaps actually were beginning to break off very shortly after use. And being that I was using it on my main PC, I wasn't actually using it all that much. Became a big issue. Had to have all the keys replaced, which Corsair was kind enough to send. And been working well ever since, but it still left me with a little bit of a sour feeling in terms of keyboards from that particular brand. And I definitely do have a video of replacing all those keycaps as well too, so definitely check that out if you actually do have a similar issue. Big concern I had when getting my hands on another pretty expensive mechanical keyboard, the ROCCAT in this case, but I have to be happy to report that I have not actually had any of that issues whatsoever with broken keycaps or anything. And I've actually used this particular keyboard in the workplace and been typing on it pretty much, you can imagine, emails, search, etc, etc, etc. Pretty extensively used. Another concern that some viewers have mentioned as well too is key peeling. So let me actually go ahead and demonstrate what that's about. But let me go ahead and actually just lower the brightness of this color over here just so it can actually appear a little bit better. And here we go. Maybe that made a difference, maybe it didn't. So the little etched area here where the key, each character is shown, you can actually put a fingernail and actually feel a little bit of the groove where the key is actually etched into this particular area. So it's definitely been mentioned, probably in earlier models of this particular keyboard, or maybe just affected whatnots, previous versions of it, that after using it for some months, some of the keys began to that layer begins to rip. So your H would start to look like a 0 to some extent. And many other keys were starting to look really horrible, to the point that you can actually, it just basically looks like chip paint on a wall. And that absolutely looks horrible. So ROCCAT has mentioned to these viewers, or some viewers have mentioned in comments, that ROCCAT has actually sent a replacement keyboard, not just the keycap, so I believe the entire keyboard, which actually seems pretty good. When my Corsair keyboard began to have broken keycaps, I actually was really asking for a full replacement. They went ahead and sent me a full replacement keycap set, which, alright, that worked out just fine, but actually sending me an entire new keyboard, which actually is expected, considering it's a defect, to actually see that happening so soon. Absolutely appreciate it, and I'm really hoping I don't have any of that freaking tearing or breaking on these little keycaps breaking, or even just the letters tearing basically all over the side and all over the keys, just making it look ugly. Hopefully that doesn't happen on this one or any other ROCCAT keyboard that I actually end up owning. The software for the keyboard is actually still pretty straightforward, as you can see here. I'm going to go ahead and just select the Vulcan Aimo right over here. General features, as I mentioned before in my previous video, the option to actually update the firmware as well too, which usually you get prompted for once you actually plug it into the computer for the first time. Key assignment, thumbster keys, etc. A bunch of other stuff that I've actually not been using in the workplace, but the option's actually pretty there to actually have there as well too. And of course some profile slots down here you can actually save, and of course I had additional profiles as well too. Key illumination, obviously I usually did turn off the lights on this keyboard, but I did actually leave them on occasionally. But I actually usually keep the lights off or pretty dim, otherwise it would just be a little too flashy to actually have in the workplace. And of course here, if you actually want to select all keys, to actually select the color, in this case I just put the little default yellowish low brightness color that I usually use. Main keys, you can actually have all these lit up in this particular case here, and of course having different keys, different colors is pretty interesting as well too, so you can unselect all of them as well too. So definitely a lot of very interesting combinations you can actually do with this particular keyboard. The one little rant, two little rants I'll actually have with this keyboard so far, that I'll mention a little more in detail, is basically once you unplug this keyboard and move it to another computer, it actually does not remember the settings that were already built in. And that's actually a little bit of a bummer. Not a big deal, but a little bit of a bummer, unfortunately. The next thing as well too that unfortunately is a bit of a deal breaker to some degree is if I actually lock this computer out of Windows, the default rainbow color will actually pop up, and I'm going to go ahead and show that to you right now. So you can see I actually went ahead and just put a bit of a yellow color over here. A little bit dim, nothing too flashy. I occasionally change the color to orange or blue or red, you know, just for fun, to bug one of my coworkers, or just to choose a different color of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and actually lock this computer out, Control Delete, and I'm going to lock it, something very popular in the workplace. And you'll see, talk about flash, the rainbow color effect just kicks back in. So if I go ahead and unlock, type in my keyboard password on the keyboard, after a few seconds, we are back to the default that I had right here. So I kind of hope ROCCAT can actually address that. It is not particularly anything bad, but a bit of an annoyance to some degree. I actually don't want to create too much fanfare or attention in a workplace if I'm using this keyboard there, and have this thing basically be all flashy with the colors and everything. Pretty interesting, but yes and no, I guess you can say. It's a little bit of both words here. So I have gone ahead and raised the brightness of this keyboard to the full max. So it actually looks pretty nice, kind of like lights on a Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center. One thing I didn't mention in my original review is that this keyboard does have an option to disable the start key, which I actually found really annoying when playing 3D shooters on occasion. And you can basically turn that off with this little game mode key right here under the scroll lock. You just hit FN, turn this on, and you'll see this particular light is now on to indicate game mode is on. So now the start button is actually disabled. And this is definitely a big winner for sure. In my former Corsair keyboard, there's actually a switch that actually takes care of that for you. This one's an extra step to actually follow, but still very, very, very useful. Up here as well too, something I didn't even expect that I would actually be using, particularly at home or in a workplace a little bit, is basically the volume knob. And if I'm actually listening to a recorded voicemail that came through an email, or possibly just a little bit of chillax music on YouTube, this thing's actually pretty useful, and I actually really do enjoy it. Every turn just brings it up or down about 2 points in the volume. Really useful. Mute button over here as well too. Little flashy effect there just to give you the indication that it's actually on. And of course this button over here. So I had a little preview of it in the beginning. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of sound test for you guys once again. when talking to people on the phone and typing at the same time, particularly if I'm typing them an email right on the spot, I gotta tell you, I've actually gotten the comments like, wow, you really type fast. But it just so happens this keyboard is loud, but I do sort of type a little fast in my own idiotic, non-professional typing way, as you can see there. Just not even using the old-fashioned format to actually type correctly. Kind of gave up on that some time back, but damn it, I will get back into it. I do mean it. So I just basically typed up a little mock email here that I probably would like written out at work. And definitely, this keyboard does announce itself in the workplace, I'll be honest. But depending which, this is actually the brown switches. If I've actually chosen the red, I'm pretty sure this would even be freaking louder. And as much as I like showing off a little bit of hardware I have here on occasion, like this keyboard or the mouse that goes with it, I really didn't want to just catch everyone's attention and just have colleagues of mine just wondering, dude, seriously, that thing is just too loud. I really love it, but it's just too loud. Another great feature about this keyboard, it's actually pretty light. Just close the little flaps there in the back. You can actually see this over here. Some pretty good rubber underneath this keyboard so it can avoid friction and sliding. It will eventually start sliding as your keyboard or the underneath gets a little bit of dust accumulated there. This has actually happened personally on using a keyboard, another model of this keyboard at home. So I usually have to clean that up. Another slightly annoying thing is if you actually slide this keyboard, it makes a really loud sound. And if I actually slid this in a slightly different way, it really doesn't sound very appealing. In terms of the LEDs and the colors, how they basically match up the color you're actually willing to choose, you can see this is actually a bluish color right now, which actually I had in mind. Some keyboards and mice in particular are really guilty of this. When you actually choose certain colors, they appear slightly different color, and blue, unfortunately, is one of them that just appears more purple. Let me just go ahead and just select the violet looking color here for you. So you actually see it looks pretty purpley. Go ahead and choose another color here for you as well too. Let's try good old-fashioned green. And this actually looks pretty good. I did actually use a green setting at my workplace a couple of times. Go ahead and choose another one. Let's try red. And red actually looks pretty good. Doesn't look pinkish or a little more leaning towards the purpley side whatsoever. So they really did capture the colors on this particular unit over here pretty well. Now I'm actually choosing like a really goofy. So here I'm actually picking some sort of mix of white and red. You actually see it looks a little bit purpley, which basically is what's supposed to look like for the most part anyway. So the colors on this keyboard are pretty good. And I'm actually been enjoying messing around with the color a couple of times, particularly when a colleague of mine mentions like, holy, you can actually change the colors on this thing. It looks pretty cool. I actually have gotten a bit of attention with this keyboard from many people, including my boss, other coworkers, some of them which involve programmers using Microsoft Sculpt keyboards and other wireless high-end keyboards, which I gotta tell you, they really just can't match up to something wonderful like this. I actually cannot see myself programming or doing anything without like a really freaking noisy keyboard like this. So there you go. There's that sound I was looking for, and it's freaking annoying. You actually do get the feeling of just feeling more productive when you actually can enjoy the hardware that you're actually using for work, for home use, or any other sort of use as well too. And writing a everyday email just seems a little bit more appealing, just a tad bit, when you're actually using something like this. Let me go ahead and add the little armrest here. And by the way, speaking of the armrest, I did actually have to contact ROCCAT because this particular armrest, even though it wasn't really visible in my first video, over here was a little bit of a tilt. And it I can't really say that it causes us to disconnect more often on this side than on this side, but it was a little annoying to actually feel a little bit of an incline there. So I went ahead and contacted ROCCAT about it. They collected a little bit of details and even asked me if I don't mind showing them a picture. And obviously this is the replacement. Sorry, let's see if I can just focus there. I'm not going to be able to focus on this one because the colors are just stealing the show. But this was basically a little bit tilted, and it just caused a little bit of inconvenience when actually just moving my hands over. So they actually did go ahead and send me a replacement armrest as well too. So definitely thumbs up to them for actually sticking to their support and their products as well too. And I'm pretty sure if anyone had any of the issues with the peeling, just like some viewers have mentioned, that they may have had in earlier models or versions of this keyboard, they were sent actually a fully new replacement, so to speak. And if you definitely have run into that situation, please, I'd like to hear about it, hear a little bit more details about it. Because obviously that's been fresh on my mind when I actually did get this keyboard and other models of this keyboard as well too. Especially if your fingernails happen to run into this groove area where the key is, you actually just feel concerned about it coming off. But nope, none of that has actually happened here. All the keys look great. And even more so, try to get a better up close view here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights here. Oh, and of course, how do you turn off the lights? Well, personally, I just lower the brightness to the lowest. And you'll see nothing is on except these little indication lights over here for number lock, caps lock, etc. And also the keys up here. Let's go ahead and get a much closer view of the keys so you can actually observe them. I'm sorry if that's a little bit out of focus for any reason, but you can actually see I really don't see any shiny keys as of yet, and this keyboard should definitely have some, considering I've been using it extensively for a good 2 or 3 months now, writing hundreds and hundreds, not thousands of emails and typing a bunch of stuff into ticketing systems and goodness knows what else. Just use your imagination if you use one of these or something similar in the workplace. A little bit of dust you can actually see in there in between the keys. I actually use a paintbrush to actually just wipe it all out. Just a regular Home Depot $2 or $3 paintbrush. You can actually just swipe right through. Some people like to use an air duster. That's another way to go about it. Or of course you can just go very gently, of course, don't do what I just did, and have the dust come out. So yes, another good plus of this keyboard is the ability to really just clean it out. All the keys look great. And even the areas in between all look good as well too. So even the space bar, you can actually notice, I don't even notice any shiny or glossy feeling that happens with keyboards after being used for a long time. Will it happen eventually? Probably. Very likely. I think I've probably heard people saying that yes, it will happen. One last thing I can also mention here as well too is the durability of this keyboard. Definitely feels very solid. No cheapy feeling to it. Little crazy thing I'm about to do, but I have both hands on both sides over here. I'm trying to see if I can actually tilt it. If you use like one of those cheapy $10, $15, $25 Logitech, Dell, Lenovo keyboards, you can actually feel a bit of a flex when you actually put pressure in the opposite directions on both sides of the keyboard. I do not feel that whatsoever. I can't even flex it, to be honest. Very nice aluminum build, plastic build around it as well too. Feels really strong. And actually, if I just put this down, you can actually even hear just how tough this thing is. It will hurt if someone hits you in the head with this keyboard. Just as a joke. No, and I definitely don't condone any violence with beautiful technology anyway. I'll put this back on here, held by magnets, which is another winner for me as well too. Well everyone, I hope you really enjoyed this little follow-up video here. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything, but if I did, please call me out, put it in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to know about this keyboard or even see. As a little bit of a fun thing, maybe I might even try doing like a funny little ASMR typing video with this keyboard, which will actually be funny. There's actually a time in my workplace where I'm basically working for an entire couple of hours on my own. So you can just imagine seeing endless typing on the keyboard while emails go through, and etc. etc. So if there's anything else you actually know about this keyboard, anything missing, any quick questions, hell, if you want me to actually even throw it in the shower and wash it, like I was crazy enough to wash some other keyboards, let me know. And I'll be more than happy to oblige as much as I possibly can. Any questions, by all means, let me know as well too. And I really do appreciate the comments and the views I've gotten on the review of this original review of this keyboard. I'll definitely be looking for more, as obviously I had gotten my hands on a couple of ROCCAT devices over the last couple of weeks, couple of months even, and I'll definitely be doing follow-up videos on them all. Go ahead and shoot a like and subscribe if you really enjoyed this video. And definitely look forward to some more technology videos as well too. Lately you guys have been seeing I've been doing a couple of walkthroughs through New York and some travel related stuff. I will be continuing that, but don't fret, my technology stuff is still coming for sure. Alright? Thanks again for watching, and everyone, as always, stay safe. Take care of yourselves.